Welcome once again, fans of flip clocks. I'd like to talk today about cleaning your flip clock and what's the best way to do that. I'm not talking about the deep restoration that you might do if you get a clock from eBay and want to get back to new. I'm talking about day-to-day cleaning of your flip clock, because I have the belief that a lot of the scratches and stuff we see on our clocks are from people who have wiped them off in the past. I have quite a few clocks, and I've had this display here in our living room for about a year, and by now a lot of them have collected dust. And I'm going to show you how I like to clean my flip clocks, and of course if you have any discussion or want to question me on this or challenge me, please do in the comments. We'll start here with this little Castellan. This is a Castellan mini mod. And when we're doing these clocks, every clock's got its own little quirks that we have to be aware of. But in general, what I like to use is water, just plain water. Not necessarily soap and water, just plain water. And I'm using a paper towel, brand new clean paper towel, and rinse it out to get any fibers off of it. So look at the clock. This happens to be glass, but you do have to be careful because on the back side, that is actually will come off with water. So we don't want a lot of extra water. You're going to wipe gently. I usually wipe in one direction, and I'm turning the cloth as I wipe so that I'm not rubbing anything that's abrasive into the finish. Then I take a tissue, just like regular Kleenex tissue, and wipe very lightly. Now I know those of you who restore clocks will say, no, that's going to get dust all over, lint all over the place. Well, I wouldn't do it on the inside, but you'll notice it's not really causing any problems here. So this happens to be a Koala Model 222. It does have a plastic face. We've got some significant dust. I don't know if you can see that. So same thing. I'm going to just use water. And I'm using a fresh cloth each time, fresh paper towel each time I do this. I don't care what they say, I'm not reusing it. I'm looking to make sure there's nothing on that plastic that's going to scratch it. I'll sometimes blow it off to make sure there's nothing major on there. And then I wipe. I'm not in a big hurry. I always look and see if there's anything major on there. And I don't scrub this thing. If it doesn't need cleaning, it doesn't need cleaning. So I don't have to get every nook and cranny. I find that, the dust patterns are going to fall on the tops anyway. So we're going to turn to a different type of clock. This is a clock radio, and it's got some special considerations. Most of you won't be familiar with this. This is a Baycrest HB23. This appeared on the TV show Fringe. Took me forever to figure out which clock that was. Anyway, we're looking at this. We got to be mindful of the speaker. We don't want to soak that. And to be a little different, we're going to try a different kind of cleaner. This is Koala Kleener. And my wife turned me on to this. She uses it for her eyeglasses, for her iPads, stuff like that. It's alcohol and ammonia free, and that's real important, especially for this clock. Now, I could use water on this clock without any problem, but I want to watch for that stripe there. That's a chrome stripe, and I have found that ammonia will take that right off. So I'm going to use this Koala Kleener, and I'm going to tell you, I really like this stuff. It's not sudsy. It's clean streak free. It doesn't seem to leave a residue. Now I'm going straight to the tissues for this. I'm not using a paper towel. I'm just trying to wipe, like again in one direction. And this does a really good job of taking fingerprints off any grime. It doesn't do any bit of damage to the clock. It doesn't take much to get a nice clean face there. Now this is Chiffre 3, as we say in the United States. I can't pronounce it correctly. In any event, it's an Italian clock and it's fairly famous. This is the newer version. And we're going to use, back to the water again. I'll go ahead and rinse a clean, new paper towel. You can see that, you can really see the dust on this red. And this one I'm very careful of. Even the modern ones will scratch like nobody's business. If you get one of these, you'll notice they'll rest right on the base. They don't have pads on the bottom of the clocks. you want to put a pad underneath of it when you display, because it'll actually scratch the bottom up just by moving it around. So again, I give it a good once over and follow up with the tissue. So nothing really dramatic here. The thing is, I'm being very light on this. I don't feel the need to put anything extra on here. And if I get good results, I get good results. And as you can see, it cleans up really well. It'd be different if there's a lot of oil in the air. I'd probably have to change my ways, but this does well. Now, if there's some special cases, this is the granddaddy of all flip clocks. It's the Plato flip clock, and this is early 1900s. It really was the first flip clock. And as you see, it's brass. And so we're going to have to use something special on this. This is called Renaissance wax, and it's they say it's used by the British Museum, and I've done a lot of reading up on it. And again, I started using this about a year ago. You can see it's the first toy maker to the Queen. It's got her stamp on it there, so it's official, I guess. But in any event, I heard a lot of good things about it. They say the restorers use this. People use it even on wood. You can Google this and research it yourself. This clock I treated a year ago, and it had no adverse effects. I haven't actually touched this clock. I've moved it, but I really haven't messed with it in that amount of time. And it's kept it looking fine. I am putting a new coat on it. You want to use this stuff very sparingly. Very sparingly. You don't have to gunk this on, and actually it's better to put it on as light as you can. I use a brand new clean cloth when I put it on, and then I'm going to use another cloth to lightly buff it off. And I like to save all kinds of scrap cloth, if they're cotton especially, clean. I cut them up into squares and keep them handy. I do that for a lot of different things. But anyway, you buff this lightly. Of course, before I put that Renaissance wax on, I didn't show you. I did wipe it down because it did have some dust on it, and did it with the water. As you can probably tell, it really shines this up. It actually hides fingerprints. It protects against alcohols and water stains and fingerprint damage and acids. It's good stuff. Now, this is a clock from the 30s, the Depression era. It's a New Haven flip clock. So these came on the scene, and then they disappeared. It wasn't until the 60s, and especially the 70s, that our modern flip clocks came on. And you think, well, can you use this microcrystalline wax, which is what Renaissance wax is? Can you use that on this? And absolutely. Now, I put that stuff on this clock a year ago, and I'm knocking off the dust here. I don't know if you can tell. It looks great. So I really stand behind this stuff. It's good stuff. That clock, I really probably don't even need to put any more on here, but I'm going to anyway. Like I said, I want to keep these things protected, and I'm not gooping it on. So very lightly. I don't see any need to put it on the glass. Very lightly, I'm going to just cover all the surfaces. It's got a smell sort of like shoe polish, but that fades away fairly quickly. It actually dries fairly quickly. I'm going to put it on all the surfaces, even on the side here. There's some painted surfaces, or a painted surface. It doesn't hurt it one little bit. It actually makes it look pretty good. And I even hit it on the bottom just for protection against whatever. And again, get another clean little rag there. And you buff. You want to go ahead and buff as soon as you're done wiping. You don't have to let it dry. It dries quickly. And you're going to get a nice little sheen. It's almost like a matte finish. So no matter whether you're using water or soap or Koala Kleener, do whatever it takes to keep these clocks looking good. And if I don't see you before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas.
When you get the time, come visit us at flipclockfans.com.